has been a minute. Let me fix my little thing here, because this has even fallen to hell and back. Today we are working on the Fiore house. Today's my first recording since I've been absent for a long friggin' time. My doctor's like, you should probably find some chill. You're making yourself sick. And this is what I'm doing instead. But that's okay. That's okay. I don't know why my screen is not moving here. That's not cute behavior for anyone. But anyways, we're working on the Fiore house today. This is Augustina Fiore, Nazareno Fiore, and Iolanda Fiore. If you follow Tumblr, I already kind of posted my playthrough of their household, but technically F was on the ABC challenge, and I'm like, I am not going to squander this opportunity. That is not who I am as a person. I'm losing my voice. It's great. So yeah, Augustina is the daughter of Amedeo Fiore and his wife Madeline. Amedeo, of course, being the bastard son of the former Kenton king. And it wasn't like a closely guarded secret that no one knew, but it was also very much not talked about, especially because Ilaria wasn't, she was an indentured servant. It got the gossip mill going a little bit when she was freed, but for the most part, he just kind of let it go. And everybody else kind of let it go too, until the rebellion happened, and suddenly there are people with Kenton blood who have not sworn that they have no claim to this land. And since Adirion's kind of a new thing, like, it was a weird legal gray zone, shall we say. So Amedeo was not he was indentured, but he was not put into prison. His wife, Madeline, had trumped up charges of treason put against her, and she was to kind of control the family. Because Augustina went AWOL, no one knew where she was. Spoiler alert, she's in Tenby. And nobody kind of knew who was going to crop up. But Augustina was in Tenby. She actually, her grandmother, even before the rebellion, kind of caused a big stink with the family. She essentially, she left their family business to her granddaughter. She skipped over Bertoldo, who was Augustina's older brother. She skipped over Amedeo, who was her son. And she skipped over her second son, Corrado, whatever. Words are hard. Which is fine. Like, more power to her. That was her choice, and in the way that Adirion works, that is acceptable. But it did cause some strife in the family because it was unexpected, but at the same time, Augustina lived for the inn. She lived for it. That was her passion in life. She wanted to see it successful. Yeah, she flirted. She hung around with a couple boys, but she never really took it seriously. To her, the business was what was serious. And losing that was really hard for her, but she never really let it get her down, especially when she ended up in Tenby. Immediately, she's like, alright, we're rebuilding. We are creating a new tavern. Just because I'm in a magical forest that outsiders can't get to doesn't mean the locals don't need a place to hang out and decompress, right? And she was right. She built the Boring Bear Tavern, which I have not actually built yet in this playthrough. It is going to exist right next to this lot. Last time I built it a little bit too big, so I'm going to build smaller. But you can kind of see where I've got this like roundy archy bit, and then there's clearly the yard is going to connect to something right next to this lot. That's where it's going to connect to the tavern. I imagine maybe deliveries come through this way, carriages, something like that. I just didn't want the side yards to be kind of weird, so I tried to build it with that in mind. Now, Augustina and Nazareo's marriage is odd, certainly. For starters, I don't think that she ever would have been married, except to have more kids to continue the business. Like, I just don't see that happening. Originally, she took in 3 kind of teenage boys that had no one else to go, and so that she took them with her during the rebellion. She took in Ian Long, Joshua Smith, and her younger sister, we're going to go with, Cesarina Fiore. Cesarina was not originally a sister, and we're just going to leave it at that, because we haven't actually come across Cesarina's story at this point. But, obviously, Cesarina became Cesarina, and wasn't comfortable staying in Tenby with where everybody knew. No one was being uncool about it, but everybody knew, and so she just felt like people were staring at her. Ian wanted her to be comfortable, they decided the best thing they could do was go somewhere where no one knew them before and just kind of start fresh. Augustina was upset that she was losing someone who could potentially take over the inn more than anything, but she got it. She understood. She let them go. She even gave them money. Joshua never really had much interest in the business. Like, he always intended to go back to Adiran. He didn't have much family left, but that's where the family that he had was last, and that was always his intent. So time goes by and she's like, well, crap, I have nobody once again to inherit this business that means so much to me, that is so important to me. And none of the men in Tempe really met her standards. She has extremely high standards, it must be said. But Nazario Fiore was like the model of a knight. If anybody said the word knight in Gallivud, in Adiran, even in neighboring kingdoms, most people thought of Nazario because he was just so dedicated to his purpose. He's just that guy. And he's very good at it. And he'd done nothing wrong. He's a good little bean. Part of him's a good little bean just because he had no desire to be married or to kind of live that kind of life. And he's like, well, I can be in the clergy. I don't really want to be part of them because they're messy. Or I can be a knight and I can be the best there ever was. So that's what he did. But of course, Augustina's like, hey, you don't really have a purpose here anymore, do you? And he's like, no, I don't. The forest is magic and weaponized. Kinda sucks. And yeah, she basically made him a proposition. She's like, hey, I need an heir. I need to marry somebody who is going to help me with my inn because I need this help. Especially if the border's open, because now she's going to have business from outsiders. She's going to need help. She's like, I know you're dedicated to the Kentons. Technically, I am one, because she's a little manipulative, let's be honest. And yeah, and the thing with Nazario is I've always kind of classed him as asexual. He rolled homosexual. I can see him having, not quite platonic, but, cerebral, emotional relationships with Ben, but not really having no desire for it to go any further. For his own reasons. He's just not interested. Says, no thank you, I'll have some soup. So, it's interesting that they were able to have a child at all, but they managed to get one, and they're both happy with Iolanda. They both adore her. Obviously, Augustina didn't need a son, she just needed a child. And she wasn't really even picky to have a child of her own blood, it's just at this point she's like, this is the best shot I got. And she knew he would be very good at helping her with this, because that's what he's always done. He's always done his duty, and if his duty is to his wife and his family, that's what he's gonna do. And I really do think was the best for him. He was floundering a bit, not knowing what he should be. He was a knight, but he wasn't really, and he just didn't know what to do. And as weird as it is being married and having a kid and everything, he really does adore Iolanda. She understands it. He just feels very understood in the situation. Even Augustina, they're kind of best friends. She understands him completely. She has not asked any more from him than he is willing to give. He likes the routine of running the inn. He likes everything kind of about it. And it really suits him, because he's very stoic, but he has a quiet sense of humor, I think. And also, people don't want to mess around in Nazario Fiore's inn. I think I've mentioned it before in some of my other videos where knights who have married, their names have changed. That's because if they are not landed when they are wed, they automatically take their wife's name. That has just always been the tradition. Maybe it didn't have to be here, but he had no desire to really break that tradition. It's not that he doesn't like being a Drago, that was the tradition. He's very entrenched in tradition, so he's like, no, my name has to be Fiore now. And she's like, okay, cool. So yeah. This is the build. I can't actually see where we are in the video because of my video lag. It's running way further behind, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I tried to make sure that the upstairs looked like more people used to live there than do now, but I don't know how quite well I succeeded on that. Hopefully I did. Because like I said, she used to be raising those 3 teen boys that lived in the lot. And I'm sure they'll come back to visit and everything, but they're not going to stay. I've started using specific shutters for Tenbei, not on purpose, but I love those like 3 across, 3 down shutters. think they're from a mead set, and I just really adore them. I also decided she was going to make her own mead. I don't know if it's going to be ready because I'm not running any of the businesses in Adiran until round 2, but I don't know if the mead is going to be ready at that point, so it might be round 3 that we actually have mead that she's made. And then with their round there came a little bit of drama, but I'm not going to get into that because, hey, I'm going to make you go to Tumblr and look at her name. Because all these characters do have, for the most part, pretty long tags on Tumblr, and I have made sure to update last names. And I also finally removed the Kingdom of Galibid tag just because it's not really relevant anymore. Sure, that's what it was called at the time, but it doesn't really need to be there anymore. So if you search Augustina Fiore, if you just search Fiore, which is the title of the video, you're going to come up with a lot of results. And you can learn a lot of backstory about these characters, because I've played this neighborhood for, oh god, going on 8 years? Maybe 9? This is my 4th rebuild, I believe? Since the Rebellion, I think it's like the 3rd. The Rebellion is when I've really had to rebuild a lot more. But yeah, I'm very attached to them, and I enjoy the storytelling aspect of all of it very greatly. I see it as like folk stories, and I like that I get to tell the stories not just of like the little people, but of the bigger people too. And in this case, these are probably middling people. I mean, Nazario is arguably more famous than Augustina, but she's got that whole royal bastard thing going for her, so yeah. And I'm curious to see how Iolanda's going to turn out. I think she's really interesting. She's got a cute face. It's going to be really fun to see her grow and progress as a character, especially because she was born in the interim, except we jumped like 15 odd years, so we've got new people that I don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, definitely give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.